Hello, I'm on deck in good old New Jersey and continuing to talk about causality and the role um, deciphering the dynamics of cause and effect have in our lives and understanding the logic behind the inferences that we draw. So, I've talked about the four blunders I've identified and that I feel we make in our thinking about causality, and I've discussed them in the first two previous episodes about causality. Now, the third blunder that we make when trying to pass judgments on cause and effect is that sometimes the answer we reach is just an imaginary answer. Now, this third blunder we make may appear to be merely another misapplication of causality at first, but as we delve deeper into it, I think we'll find it presents a more fundamental critique of our thought processes when it comes to causality. Now, what do I mean by imaginary causes? I think a good way to get started today and exemplify this is to first think about dreams. We've all had dreams. We know what it is to dream. Now, back in high school, I did a term paper on dreams in my junior year, and one of the things I remember when doing research at the good old Monmouth County Library that I rode my bicycle down to, I don't think I was even driving yet, was how it's widely acknowledged that external stimuli can impact a dreamer's experience. Scientists have replicated many studies using a foreign impetus like, say, a loud noise, or the scientists might use a feather to tickle a subject they're studying, or they might use a flashlight, not a super bright one, but kind of flash the light across their eyes several times. Not enough to wake them, but to see if it gets incorporated into their dream. And sure enough, of course it does. In our dreamer's mind, the subject assigns causality to these outside sensations, and they'll generate a whole narrative around it, where the events unfold independently, created by the mind for the mind. So our dreamer's mind makes stuff up and connects dots that aren't there. It's fabricating things like an internal TV show where events unfold purely for justifying or providing explanations for the external stimuli they experienced while they were sleeping. So let's keep that in mind. What happens when you're in dreams? So you have this external stimuli and you incorporate it into your dreams and then make a whole story up around it. Now, my bold claim is that we pretty much do the exact same thing when we're awake. So all our general feelings, our general emotional states, our inhibitions, our tensions, particularly those emotional states, inhibitions, and tensions that arise from our nervous system, our nervous system's derived sensations, and those trigger our causal thinking. They all fuel our causal drive, our innate need to find cause, just like when we dream. We want to have a reason to feel this way or that. So say you wake up in the morning in a good mood, or in, say, more likely, maybe you wake up in a really bad mood. Some days you just wake up on the wrong side of the bed, right? Maybe you ate something that didn't agree with you before you went to sleep. Maybe you were run down from a big week at work, or maybe you're on vacation with the family and you had a great time, now you're back. Whatever. Now, you go to work and you come in grumpy, and your co-workers all want to know, like, well, what's wrong? You seem grumpy. So what do? Well, we go searching for a reason to explain why we were grumpy this morning, a reason to justify our crappy mood, or maybe in my case, a really exuberant mood in the morning, which is more likely in my case. But anyway, regardless, we go searching for an explanation of why we're in this mood that we're in. And where do we go searching first a lot of the time? We search in our memory and try to find a reason that comforted us in the past, a previously experienced and consciously articulated cause for why we're in a given mental state or mood, right? I mean, you could say the principal reason we possess memory, its main task, if you will, is memory helps give you answers as to why you feel this way or that. One of the numerous advantages of being an animal that remembers is you can course correct when something isn't working. If you try the same thing over and over for a week and it doesn't work, whatever you're trying to do, it doesn't work. Hopefully you try a different way or many different ways until you find a way that works. Well, I think we have a saying that says the same thing. Like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, right? So that's one of the big functions of our memory. Now, look, given our nature as biological beings, does memory substantiate a firm empirical grounding for inferring our causal connections, or does it merely juxtapose recurrent emotional states and examine prior occurrences? More simply, does memory actually prove cause and effect, or just notice what happened before in similar instances and then just kind of come up with a guess, or more likely come up with something that'll just make the problem go away? Now, my claim is we do the latter way more than we think, way more to me, because we want to find a comforting reason why things went wrong again. But that doesn't, when we find a comforting reason, it doesn't fix anything. To fix it, we often need to find a new cause that will fix things. Because looking back and saying, oh, here's a cause that's not going to work. Now, while this would make us feel uncomfortable because it's a new idea, it's better than an old answer that is comfortable but doesn't address the actual issue. Look, sometimes a coworker comes in grumpy and they'll tell me they're grumpy today because, my job sucks, I hate my job, blah, blah. But it's like, what are you talking about? The vast majority of the time, you're telling me how much satisfaction you get from your job, that you actually really like the work you're doing, and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, it's okay to feel bad or good for no reason. Sometimes you're just not going to have a reason, and to go searching for one ain't always such a great idea. Sometimes just going with it is better than coming up with an imaginary cause. Like, you might blame your girl for your bad mood, and she had nothing to do with your bad mood. You might not have gotten a good night's sleep, and now you're blaming her instead. Now you're going to end up in an argument for no good reason. Because it's like, God forbid, we don't know the cause of one of our moods. We always have to find a reason, even if it's one we just imagined up. Better than the unknown, because we can't handle the unknown. Definitely not in these times. It seems like any kind of uncertainty or unknown, it just sends us, gives us a lot of anxiety. I think we have way too much fear of the unknown. We overthink everything and end up chasing these false imaginary causes in an effort to find comfort in what we already know, right? It's like proof by pleasure. We want to abolish that which makes us feel bad, the sense of the unknown. And it doesn't even have to be a good explanation. As long as it delivers us from our fear of the unknown, which is often why we pick the first cause that seems to work. We just want to get it over with as little pain as possible, preferably none. And we preclude causes that will cause us to have to make changes to ourselves because we don't like that. Also, our worldview often points us into a comfortable conclusion of causes. So, for example, the businessman thinks of a business cause. The Christian thinks of a sinful cause. The young lover of a romantic cause. The political activist of a political cause for all the problems. They're like mental filters, all comfy in their conclusions of causes. Like pre-election, many of us have our very political cognitive filters on, and we're just viewing everything through our left or right lens, I go so far as to make the claim that the whole realm of morality and values and religion belong under my concept. All right. Okay, I think that's I've gone on enough about imaginary causes, and hopefully it gives you a pause to consider things if you're falling into this trap. And as always, you don't have to agree with me, but I hope it gives you some pause and makes you think, if nothing else. So next week, I'll be wrapping up my little series I've been doing with the four blunders that we make, and I'll be going over the final blunder. That's the blunder of free will in when we assess causality, and that should be a real banger. As always, wishing you much joy, peace, and love, and thanks for watching. And for my favorite Latina viewers, see you next time.